decide the person you want to be and prove it to yourself every day. That's self-leadership.
Yep. Yeah, I think you touched on something important there, which is to have a clear vision or idea of the person that you want to be or the thing that you're trying to achieve.
And in this moment, I swear, we are infinite.
Let's do this! Come on!
Mounting!
It's too damn hot for a penguin to be just walking around.
3, 2, 1, eagle!
Are these two doctors?
I'm afraid so.
And here we go.
I'm afraid so.
And we're back. Welcome to episode 2 of season 2 of the Vertus podcast.
Hello.
Lachlan Wallace, how are you?
This is Simon Cooper. I'm excellent.
Good.
Enjoying a delicious beverage
Ooh.
to start my morning.
What are you drinking?
Continue my morning. I'm drinking coffee, a bit of Sippy Falls single origin Jose Chameleon from the boys at Common Folk.
Delicious.
And girls, cheers to you all. Thanks for the
Amazing.
delicious beans.
Yeah, I'm also drinking Common Folk. Shout out to the
Double plug.
Unicorn Ugandan single origin from Zukuka Bora.
Bit of Kim Dingwall artwork there.
Love that.
I got that unicorn on my wall.
That's the original.
Well, I don't think it's the original. I think it's probably a print. Well, let's tell people.
Claim it.
Yeah, bloody oath.
So today we are talking about self-leadership.
We are.
Locke, what does self-leadership mean to you?
Oh, good start. It was very professional beginning.
Thank you.
What is self-leadership to me? Self-leadership is, leadership is making hard decisions and doing the right things at the benefit of an organizational team, I think. So if we were to extrapolate that to the self, it's basically just making decisions that may not be the easiest decision to make at the time, but will pay you back, twofold down the track. So it's removing the instant gratification we get from making shitty decisions, and it's making, and I think it's just decision making in a nutshell is self-leadership. The synonyms around self-leadership are like responsibility, discipline, ownership, those kind of words. It all means the same stuff. It's just doing what is right rather than doing what is easy.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
And we're done. Scene.
And we are done. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, I think we can use self-leadership as a framework for decision-making. For me, leadership is holding the standard, to use Logan Gelbrick's words, but it's holding the standard for yourself and for others. Self-leadership is focused on yourself, and it's holding yourself to the standard and kind of leading yourself toward the person that you want to be or you want to become.
Yeah, I mean, at the gym, we've got on the wall, we've got the standards you walk past, the standards you accept, and it's self-leadership is just making your own bed before you start to criticize the world. And we all, put my hand up, we all want to criticize a lot of the things going on in the world at the moment, but unless we have our own bed made, ducks in a row, it seems kind of fruitless to criticize external to our own locus of control. And self-leadership is just leaning on your locus of control.
Yeah. And I think we can ask ourselves the question, what right do we have to criticize others or to even lead others if we can't lead ourselves?
Yeah. There's a very strong argument for none at all.
Yeah.
I love the quote, be lenient sorry, too much coffee. Be lenient with others, but strict with yourself. So hold yourself to a higher standard than you expect of others, which it's almost like chasing perfection or excellence or any of those words. It's like, you're never going to completely execute on those targets, on those goals. It's like the standard. You're never going to reach the standard. But knowing that standards are there helps you work towards getting as close as possible, as close as humanly possible to what you consider excellent or what you consider the right thing to do.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's what you just said then about how excellence or the standard is that unattainable. The goal is the outcome or the result. There's also the focus on the process as well, which is the day-to-day. It's showing up every day and having the integrity to just do the work, right?
Yeah, and that integrity, I don't think it's the actual definition, but it's the definition that the Fizz uses. Integrity is just doing what you said you would do when you said you would do it, full stop. And if we wanted to, we could boil down self-leadership into that. It's, I said I would do this. This is when I said I would do it. I will execute on that. Having poor self-leadership or poor ownership is the inability to execute on what you said you would do. And then you could, open up that conversation and go, okay, well, were my expectations too unrealistic or too far ahead of what I could actually execute on? Or do I just need to stop being shit and to actually do the thing I said I would do? Because we all have the best intentions. And I think that's the important part of this conversation is everyone has the best intentions. And I am an eternal optimist, and I believe that everyone is just doing their best. Maybe there are some shit people in the world, but I find it hard to believe that everyone doesn't just want the best for themselves and the people around them. Yes, a lot of people are ignorant. Yes, a lot of people are misinformed. Yes, a lot of people are wrong about a lot of things. Put my hand up for that as well. But I think everyone has the best intention, but self-leadership is being able to execute and follow through on those intentions more often than not, because we know we're not going to get it right every time.
I agree with that. I think everyone wants to do the right thing, and that, whatever right is determined by their worldview or the narrative that they're living. But everyone just wants to be the best person they can be. I think if I can't imagine a world where people don't want that, really. Or at least,
I'm sure there's arguments for it, especially with the way certain people or certain groups act at particular points in time. But even if there's nobody wins by the people that do want the best for themselves and for everyone around them. No one wins by them focusing on that.
So people want the best for themselves. How do that? Why do they not stay true to that desire?
Because it's hard. Because it's difficult. Because there's Stephen Pressfield, one of my favorite authors, and I know one of yours as well. He talks about the thing called the resistance, which is just that invisible force that stops you from doing the things you should do. It's the reason procrastination exists, and it's the reason self-doubt exists, and all those kind of things. Mm-hmm. The simple answer is just because it's hard. It's difficult to hold yourself to the standard that you want to. You want to. Everyone wants an out. Everyone wants an excuse. Everyone has their reasons to not do the thing. Everyone thinks they're special in many different ways, which means that they're the exception to the rule. And it's almost like that quote I said before about holding yourself to higher standards and giving everyone else a break. It's almost like a lot of us live our lives in the opposite fashion. It's we can justify the reason why we didn't do something, but when someone around us doesn't do the thing we expect them to do, or that they said they would do, or that we want them to do, it's really easy to think of worst case scenario where in fact we should lean into those conversations and go, well, Coop didn't do that work. He said he would do. Well, maybe Sal had a tough day at work and he was looking after her, or maybe the power was out, or if we can take our mind to the positive, it's like benefit of the doubt thing, rather than the opposite. But
True story, by the way. My power was out the other day.
well, that's why it was that's why it popped into the mind as an example. Do your fucking work is all I'm saying.
Yeah,
but short answer, it's hard. It's difficult.
Yeah.
It's easier.
Yep.
And if we take a short term look at the way the world works, then it's better to go instant gratification. It's better to eat the shitty food. It's better to binge on Netflix short term, because it makes us feel safe and comfortable and good, like in the immediate. But if we did that every day, we'd be in trouble.
Yeah, we wouldn't have progress.
Yeah.
And
but if we look long term and we make the harder decision, we go, okay, well, I'm making this decision now, so that I'm better off down the track. Even if we take a day's example, I know that if I make the hard decision at 5:45 to get up out of bed and go for a walk or go for a run or do something, I'm going to be an infinitely better version of myself for the rest of the day. Whereas if I make the poor decision, which I make maybe like 1 out of every 5 or 6 days, if I make that poor decision and decide to roll over and go back to sleep, then when I eventually wake up, I'm going to be sluggish. I'm going to be slow. I'm going to, maybe have a bit of a headache. I'm not going to have that hunger to get out and get after all the things I need to get after that I normally would. So if we can figure out ways to populate our decision making with, well, how can this help the future version of myself? Then we're in a much better shape. And James Clear, another person I look up to in this kind of field, he talks about habits, but habits are just self-leadership, repeated.
Yeah,
It's
small acts of self-leadership, right?
Yeah, and again, this is on the wall in the gym. Decide the person you want to be and prove it to yourself every day. That's self-leadership.
Yep. Yeah, I think you touched on something important there, which is to have a clear vision or idea of the person that you want to be or the thing that you're trying to achieve. If that's not clear in your mind, then you don't know what actions you need to take to get there. And we've spoken before about like small actions, about how they compound over time. If you consistently get out of bed at 6 a.m. and go for your walk, or if you're consistently spending 30 minutes meditating or journaling or whatever that looks like, then over time, those things are going to add up, and the whole is going to be greater than the sum of all those individual pieces.
Yeah. Everyone understands how compound interest works,
I think.
So I actually don't really know. Finance is not my strong suit, but I'm going to assume that everyone listening or watching at home understands how compound interest works. Is that the more money that you have in there, the more money that can potentially make, and it's just snowballs. It's a momentum, or it's a momentum building effect. It's inertia. The bigger the snowball gets, the faster it's gonna roll. And I feel as though it's the same way for self-leadership, in that if you create a habit and you cultivate that habit and you add to it each day that you do that thing, it makes it harder to not do it. Like I've talked about a couple of my simple habits that I use till the cows come home, but daily journaling, 10,000 steps. I've added meditation to that over the last 25 days. And every day I add another day to it, it makes it harder to not do it.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. This morning sitting there journaling, I was like, fuck, I don't know what to write about. I can't be bothered. So I wrote about self-leadership. So tactical, topical, even
Research.
Yes, research. And what I wrote at the end of it was self-leadership is an act of self-compassion, of self-love to the future version of you. So when you decide to make that hard decision now, it's not a self-sacrificial decision. It's I'm sacrificing now for later. Again, I'm a quote guy. This one isn't on the wall of Vertus, but hard decisions, easy life. Easy life, easy decisions, hard life.
Yeah.
Butchered that. Hard decisions, easy life. easy decisions, hard life.
Yeah.
And we see that in the people around us. The people that we know have sacrificed to get where they are now have the freedom to do more.
Yep. I think there's in saying that there's a difference between self-sacrificing people and self-respecting people. Like it's not a matter of martyring yourself in order to
great word.
To
we should you remember the shout out bell? We should use that for good words.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Bring it back.
Excuse me for a second.
What was I saying? You can't martyr yourself. Good. In order to for the person that you want to become, because you end up just grinding yourself into the ground and you're no good to anyone. I think what the approach we need to have is the self-respect thing, is respect ourselves and the people around us enough to do the daily things, to show up regularly, to become that better person or the person that we want to become.
Well, that's just around creating boundaries.
Yeah.
It's around identifying, okay, well, my boundaries are, well, if I'm going to get up at 6 a.m. every morning, then I need to be in bed by 10:30.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Happens way less often than I would like it to. But if that's the example, then my boundary, okay, I've got work to do from 10:30 to 11:30 to bring that closer to 10:30 as in sleep time. And we can do that for everything in our life. Like we can do it for if we're head down bum up in work for 60 hours a week, then maybe it's right that we have the boundary of not being on Slack, which we use for communication, after 8 p.m. or after 6 p.m. or whatever it is. Yep. And when someone goes, hey, do you want to come out for some beers, or do you want to, in maybe a different world than we're currently living in, if someone says, oh, do you want to jump on and play some Xbox or whatever it is, like, I said to the Fizz last night, do you want to play some Xbox? He's like, no, it ruins my sleep. We'll play tomorrow. I'm like, great. Like there's a boundary that he's clearly set. That now I know, don't ask him to play Xbox after hours, and maybe I probably shouldn't too.
Yeah. Yeah. I think one of our mentors, John Marsh, he speaks about boundaries, and his take on it is that in the work that you're doing, boundaries is a matter of life and death. If you don't have these boundaries, that's very extreme. And it's
life and death
in reality.
To your dreams. Dreams.
Ooh, I like that.
Put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah. And if you don't stay to those boundaries and stick to the things that you have outlined in your personal life, in your professional life, then you're sacrificing your dreams.
Yeah. Yeah. Which, and here's the thing, like I feel as though I've been trying to articulate what my mission is. Like we've kind of recently tweaked the Virtus one, and I'm trying to articulate what mine is. And mine is, I want people doing the things that set their soul on fire, like living to their purpose, living an intentional life. And I talk to so many people and I see so many people that I feel as though have let that dream or let that goal, let that vision slip away over whether it's over the years or whether it's recently or whatever. I would hate to see a world where the majority of people don't chase the thing they love to do, where they settle. And self-leadership and discipline, these are the things that allow you to keep the dream alive, for lack of a better term. Like discipline begets discipline. Like the more you do it, the better you get at it. It's a learnable, teachable skill that, showing up for yourself, like anyone who starts a new thing, the first 30 times you do it, it's the hardest. But then you start to build momentum, and you build a practice, an intentional practice into your existence that helps everything else. Like they're all transferable skills. My journaling in and of itself is a worthless act doing it once, but the fact that I've done it 686 days in a row helps with the fact that when I go, okay, well now I'm going to add meditation to that practice. Fuck, how cool would it be to be 686 days into meditation?
Yeah.
Currently 25, so whatever. Just pretty happy with that.
Love it. Yeah. I really like that. I think Jocko Willink talks about discipline equals freedom. And if we have these disciplined practices or disciplined habits, then that gives us more time and energy to lean into the things that we're passionate about. And it's not about, discipline isn't about being strict as such, I don't think. I think discipline is just a self-leadership thing, doing the things that you say you're going to do, holding yourself to that standard, which then allows you more energy, more space to give to other people. And that continues to build momentum. So just kind of like, it's this cycle thing that just hold yourself to the standard, which then lets you hold others to the standard around you. It allows you to lean into other people.
Yeah. I think it's a capacity conversation. Like the more, and I think strict is probably a good word to use, because you have to be strict to be disciplined to a point. Like you've got to figure out, like I said before with boundaries, you've got to figure out where those lines are that you draw. I don't go past this. And understand that you're a fallible human being and you're going to fuck up. We're basically just pleasure monkeys who wear t-shirts and things. So we're going to have points of time where we don't meet our standards, but it's a positive sum game if we just go with, okay, well, as long as I do it more often than I don't, the further I get towards more often, the further away I get from not doing it, the better I'm going to be. And the bigger capacity I'm going to be able to build for myself, which allows me to be and do and experience more, allows me to share those experiences, because the self-leadership conversation is intrinsically linked with the leadership conversation, with the organization, team, group leadership. And the crux, or the frustrating, it can be frustrating at times, the caveat of leadership is that all you can control is yourself. All that you can control is your own actions, but the importance of ownership over what you can't control still needs to be there. So I can't control the fruits of my discipline or the fruits of my self-leadership, but that doesn't mean I'm not responsible for it. Like with the leadership at work, I can't control how you guys act, for example. All I can do is try and set an example and give you guys space to work into it, to grow into, to be self-reliant, governing, higher ownership versions of yourself.
Well, it's just you passing on the leadership to us. It's you giving us the space to practice our own self-leadership.
Yeah, it's like leadership is setting an example. Like that's having Lucy start to mimic the things that KP and I are doing. Like it's not so important now, but when she's a couple of years older, we've got to make sure that the example we're setting for her is what we want for her.
Yeah, it's aligned to your values.
To steal something else from the Fizz, like treat yourself like an 8-year-old version of yourself. It's like, okay, what does the 8-year-old version of myself needs? It needs a good example. It needs, self-belief. It needs love. It needs compassion. Self-leadership gives us all of those things.
Yeah. I think you just said something important as well, which is the softer side of self-leadership, which is the love, compassion, having empathy for yourself, and like a kindness even to say, if I don't show up the way that I wanted to today, then tomorrow's a new day. Like maybe I just had a bad day, and that's all right. But tomorrow,
or a bad moment, or a bad hour.
Sure. But tomorrow I've got a chance to realign myself and show up the way that I wanted to.
Yeah, too often we throw the baby out with the bathwater. I'm yet to do that, by the way. But too often we go, oh, I fucked up today. I let myself down. What's the point? Or or it's worthless, or there's no need to lenient tomorrow. Whereas the simple mantra I like to come back to with that is just don't miss twice. If you fuck up and make a mistake, or if you say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing or don't do something you said you would do, don't let it become a habit. Just go become aware of it. And I think that's a really important part of self-leadership, is just reflection, is going, okay, where can I be better? It's like, I don't do it as a practice, but something that I've been reading about lately is just like asking yourself 3 questions at the end of the day. What went well? What didn't? How can I improve it for tomorrow? And reflection is a massive part of self-leadership, because you allow yourself to put that mirror up and go, okay, well, how can I be better?
It's a self-awareness piece.
Yes. Yeah. And I think that'll be the line that we can draw between all of these episodes is, if we can cultivate self-awareness, cultivate an understanding of us, of who we are and what we want and how we act and how we behave, then we can be more well-informed to make better decisions. Like, we've all reacted or responded in different ways with all the news that's going on at the moment. Like, I've kind of come to realize my pattern, and that pattern, like through reflection, is I tend to be really positive for a few days after something changes. And then I kind of have, like, I internalize it all. And then I realize that I'm not doing as well as I thought I would. And it takes me a day or two to kind of work through that mindset and out of that headspace to go, okay, well, everything's going to be okay. And if I understand that pattern, then I can kind of say to KP, if there's big news that come out that we're, only allowed to go to the kitchen 3 times a day, or whatever the next bloody step is, I can say, yeah, I'm probably going to be a little bit grumpy in a few days, so please don't take it personally. I'm working through it. Like,
be patient with me. Be
patient with me, exactly. And I can be patient with myself while I go, why am I feeling like this? Why am I shitty? Why do I want to go nap instead of doing something that makes me feel better?
Yeah.
But the self-leadership part is going, okay, well, if I know I'm going to feel that way in a couple of days, what are the things that can work the opposite way? So getting up early, going for a walk, reading good books, listening to good podcasts, talking shit with people who I resonate with. Like, these are the things that help fill me up and that give me more capacity to almost like fend off the negativity that will come with anyone. Everyone's shitty, everyone's grumpy, everyone gets upset at different things. But self-leadership is just not letting the things that are outside our control affect us as much as they may have.
Yeah. And when we have that awareness, then that's almost, when we see ourselves falling into that pattern, it's almost a sign that we need to, James Clear, he has another kind of quote, I'm going to butcher this, but we fall back to our systems, right? The systems of behavior. So if we have these systems where we know that they generate us energy, or that they build our capacity, then we can default back to those when we recognize we're falling into a bad pattern.
Yeah, certainly.
What are some like tangible strategies or systems that people can build to cultivate this self-leadership? We've touched on them a couple already, but
I think this was kind of a difficult thought process, I guess, over the last couple of days. Go, well, okay, what are the actual tangible things around self-leadership? Because it's like, well, I just need to do the thing. I need to take action. I think one of them is what helps you take action. And for me, for a lot of people I know, a mantra is something that you can come back to, that's like your reset button. It's like, okay, well, when I say that to myself, how do I know that I'm going to follow through with it? Like, I've had like you said, you have a mantra a year, and I reckon I'm probably running on something similar. Like, ones I've had in the past are show up, smile, and make a difference. If I show up, I know I'm going to be present. If I smile, I know I'm going to be sharing my best self with the world around me. And if I make a difference, then I can go to sleep at night going, okay, well, I lived up to the thing that sets my soul on fire, which is making the world a better place.
Yeah.
The one after that was transcend yesterday. It's like, okay, well, I don't care which part of my life it is, but if one part of my life is slightly better today than it was yesterday, then I'm doing my job.
Yep.
And my current one, which is a little bit deeper and a little bit more poignant, is just don't be shit. It's yes. So,
Meaningful.
and I just received these from Sticker Mule today, which is the Wallace "Don't Be Shit" sticker. So if anyone wants one, feel free. Just ask me and I'll send it out. But the "Don't Be Shit's" it's almost like a tongue-in-cheek one. It's the early on, like Virtus means excellence in Latin, and excellence is just about doing your best. And so we kind of shifted that "be excellent" to "be better," and then the "be better" moved to "don't be shit."
Yeah.
It's a double negative, but it's kind of like I want this shit to be fun. So if you have that "don't be shit" in your head, there's a little bit of a chuckle that comes with it. But then there's also the "well, I don't want to be shit," which that kind of mantra might rub some people the wrong way, but it works for me, and I know it works for a lot of our community. I've already had a bunch of messages saying I need one of those stickers, and I think the underlying importance of a mantra is just, okay, well, when we have the best intentions, and like I said before, we all have the best intentions. When we have those best intentions, like set all of your rules and all of your frameworks and all of your boundaries and all of your mantras up while you're in that headspace. Because then when you're in maybe you're tired or fatigued, or you've maybe not eaten great food, or you're dehydrated or whatever, those things that you fall back on, like the James Clear quote you butchered before, those things are there for us to lean on, and they're just it's just another tool in the toolbox. Like we spoke about that last week as well. Yeah. But having a mantra, just something that resonates with who you are and where you're headed. Yeah.
I have and I call it like an intention. So I guess it's something that I can come back to every day, and that sort of guides my decision making, maybe, or my frame of mind. I think I've probably done it for the last 3 years.
Huge.
I think last year's was be ruthless in your pursuit, in whatever that is.
Love that.
So, and this year is 2 feet in. So
good.
Commit to the thing and just follow through. And those have been pretty powerful for me. I write it in my journal every single day.
That's cool. That's powerful. That practice alone is powerful. So I think it doesn't really matter what it is. If you have a practice that you can lean into every day, there's an element of self-leadership. Yeah,
totally. So I think that's maybe strategy one. The second strategy as a part of that is to have a consistent practice where you are reflecting, where you're revisiting your intention, or we kind of mentioned it before, revisiting that vision or goal of the person that you want to become.
It's just a manifestation of the thing that you want to achieve, or the place you want to get to. Use like a marathon example, like the manifestation of every step is to get to the finish line. And unfortunately, there is no finish line of life until we are no longer here, for example. Maybe that's finish line, maybe it's not. Maybe that's for a later podcast. But
I'm going to live forever, so.
Fair. I could not think of anything worse. But that's again, maybe we talk about death in a later podcast. But the manifestation of understanding that there's no finish line. When you finish the marathon, you're going to have a period of rest, and then you're going to lean into the next challenge. Maybe you jump into a long trail run or an Ironman or whatever. And I think it's a mindset thing to get around that. Kind of like, well, I want to work hard now so that I can retire later, or whatever it is, because as research shows that a lot of people, when they lose that meaning or purpose in their life, they die quicker. Fun fact. There's fun fact for the day. But certain communities and certain people that don't retire and they continue to live purposeful lives, and up until the day they cark it, they're living a life that is consistent with self-leadership all the way through, and there's no like sit and rest. It's I can't remember who said it. It might be Jordan Peterson, but it's like, so what's your plan? Oh, I want to work till I'm 55 and retire. Okay, well, when you retire, what are you gonna do? Oh, I'm gonna go go down to Mexico if we're in the US. We're going to go down to Tassie and sit on the beach and drink margaritas. Okay, cool. So after the 12th margarita, then what are you going to do? We don't think that far ahead. So I think cultivating practices that allow you to continually upskill to be able to contribute or share what you learn and what you do.
Mm-hmm.
These are the things around self-leadership that give us the drive to keep going.
I think the purpose and the goals have to be powerful enough for it to kind of like sustain your effort.
Yes.
It needs to be powerful enough that when you are in bed at 6 a.m. and the alarm goes off and it's cold outside, it's got to be powerful enough to get you out of bed into the cold, into the like discomfort, and move you forward.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the crux of it, is you need to be able to lean on those things when you want to do it the least. Yep. And it's like when we're flying, like when anyone's doing well at what they're doing, self-leadership's easy. Like when everything's going the right way and everything's going well, it's easiest to get up early. It's easiest to go for that run. It's easiest to spend 2 hours studying. It's easy. And I say easy with little quotation marks, but it's really hard to do those things when we're in the midst of a global pandemic and the things you normally do or the coping mechanisms you usually have are taken away from you. It's difficult to do those things when you're unable to go to work, or you don't have the income you used to, or you don't have those safety nets there that are usually there. But this is the whole thing about self-leadership. This is when it's most important to lean into the hard things, to be able to, like, leading by example is one of my, like, I don't know, it's almost like an unintentional mantra. It's like, if I can do the things that will help other people do the things, that's almost like a strategy in amongst itself. Like, I know that if we're running the COVID games at the moment, we've all got our teams that we're leading in different ways. I know that if I get up at 6 a.m. and go for that walk or go for that run at 7 a.m., like usually I'll meditate afterwards. At 7 a.m. I can send in my team a message and say, hey guys, tick these 2 boxes this morning, which can be a motivator to get me out of bed. So there's nothing wrong with leaning on other people's expectations or that validation. It's just a practice or a system to help you do it.
It's a system of accountability, right? Like, that the people are on the other end and they're going to ask you whether you've done it or not. Or you've got to show up for them. Yeah.
And it's not a bad thing. It's not a negative that you rely on other people. It's almost like a strength, but you need to be able to rely on yourself when you've got no one else to rely on, is the crux of self-leadership.
Yep.
And know that, well, when those people aren't there, like say when the games are over, like, am I still going to get up and go for the walk? Well, I have to, because it makes me a better person. It makes me feel better, for one. Even though the last thing I want to do, and we're using this as an example, but it's an easy one. It's a frame of mind example, but the last thing I want to do is get out of bed, like warm bed, warm bed, comfy,
it's easy.
It's so easy just to roll back over.
Yeah.
But again, like to go full circle, self-leadership is doing what is right rather than doing what is easy.
Love that.
Yeah.
That's a wonderful way to finish.
Oh, I said that last week. You wrapped it up last week as well. Well, good. Well, episode 2, self-leadership in the bag. Stay hydrated, stay home, stay healthy, and reach out if you need anything. It's been a pleasure.
We have plenty of resources that we can direct you toward if you are interested in self-leadership or in generating energy or developing these systems to live. So connect with us, share, rate,
Like, subscribe,
recommend, all that.
say hi to your mum for us.
Yeah. Love that.
What are we talking about next week?
Next week, we are talking about systems for success. Stay
Love that.
tuned.
Very good.
Thanks, Locke. Yeah.
Still recording the peanut.
There is one more thing. It's been emotional.